Hi there and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm IceMan and today we're going to continue the in-depth guide of cleanse champions or debuff strippers, if you will, that I started recently. So I've already put out a video on the overall, a whole bunch of the champions and how good they are and where you can use them, how you can use them. And as I said, I'd go ahead and do a individual champion guides on many of the ones I've got, and we started off with Skytouched, obviously not the best champion in the game, definitely in need of a buff. If you watch my video you know that, and even if you haven't you might already have him, so you might know that anyway. But yeah, so today it's Skytouched Shaman, brilliant champ. I ignored her for a long time, we'll go into why in a minute. Interesting look to her, kind of weird with all these tats and this weird bird costume. I think obviously she's a bit loopy. We covered that in the previous video. We're not going to do that joke again. But you know, if you're going to wander around in a half naked in a bird costume, there's got to be something wrong with you, right? You know. So anyway, yeah, I mean, barbarians, epic support champion, void champion, obviously a little bit harder to get hold of, but yeah. There's actually, at the time of filming this, a 10x where you can get her. I've obviously already got her, so I'm not partaking in that. But plus, I have no shards and no money, so and I'm not spending. Quite frankly, I'm trying to limit what I spend on this game now because it's just not worth the money I have been spending on it. So let's carry on and have a look at her ability, shall we? So we've got her A1. Talon Knives attacks all enemies and heals by 15% of the damage inflicted if this champion has less than 50% HP. Boosts this champion's turn meter by 20% if the champion has more than 50% HP or higher. You can increase the damage on this. I did, you know, I was booking her out, so I thought I might as well fully book her out. It's an AoE A1, which is cool, you know, depending on how you want to go for where you're going to use her, how and all the rest of it. If you're mainly going to use her in dungeons and faction wars, it's well worth considering putting her in a stun set, because with that AoE A1, she's going to be throwing out a chance to stun champions quite regularly, so that's quite a good one for that. Obviously, you can put her in sets that boost HP and all the rest of it. Me, I've gone a bit of a different way, but we'll talk that way in a minute. Talk that one through in a sec. Her A2, Immortal Skies, removes all debuffs from all allies, then places a revive on death buff and a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns. Now this is brilliant. This is also why she's in the 10x. They're all doing block debuffs, I believe, at the moment. The revive on death can be clutch and really helpful. It starts on a 6-turn cooldown, can be booked down to 4, as I have done here. And yeah, it's a really cool ability. Obviously, this is the main reason for it. She's a healer as well, but this is what I consider to be her main ability, personally. The debuff strip. Then, you know, if we take a look at it, we've got her A3, Bloodstain Ritual. And this is the reason why I ignored her for so long, to be honest, and was really dubious about her. And I think it's the same for a lot of people. Damages this champion by 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn. Heals all allies except for this champion equal to half of the lost HP. Places a 30% decreased speed debuff on this champion for 1 turn at the start of each turn. Also has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff on this champion for 1 turn. I tell you what, yeah, after time it feels like that 50% to 100%. Because the amount of times I just see it go off and off and off and off, it's ridiculous. But yeah, this is the reason why a lot of people don't use it, but actually it's still one of the better healing passives in the game and can really top your champions up. You know, you build her up to really high HP levels, 100k if you can manage it. She can do some big heals, because obviously she's healing for 5% of the damage that she takes every time. So, you know, if she's at 100k, she's going to be taking a 10k hit on her health. She'll also heal for 5k across the board on an AoE. It's not quite so big when you do it the other with a bit less, but it's still very solid. Yeah, so anyway, you can also boost the percentage up here by a further 20%, and obviously that's the big thing. So initially it says you're healing by 5% or half of the lost HP, but you can then boost that heal by a further 20%, so that's really big. So if you assume that it's actually a 5% heal of whatever damage you're taking, it's actually then a 25% heal of whatever damage you're taking. So you lose 10k, 25% of that is actually pretty decent, you know. And yeah, so it is a good solid heal. It works out really well. This bit is a bit of a pain. It's a good idea to pair her with cleansers, to be fair, because then they can cleanse that stuff off. So you're pairing a cleanser with a cleanser, I know, but still it does work in many areas. So we'll take a look at our artifacts. We'll start off with the total stats. So I've concentrated, obviously, because you're healing off of the HP she loses, which is based off of her max HP. You want to build her up for as high max HP as you can get. In my case, I've managed 65k. It's not bad, it's respectable. Bear in mind, I do gear my champions lower for these guides. Sometimes that's just all the gear I've got, to be fair. But in some cases, I purposely will take off pieces of gear that I had them in, that had them higher, just for the guide, so that they're in more or less 5-star gear across the board as best I can. So obviously she is a bit lower than you might see in some other guides. I purposely go out of my way to make champions that way, so you can see them at that sort of mid-game level and see how useful they'll be to you in different areas. Attack, we've managed to get it up to 1.8, but she doesn't come with a very high base. Defense, we've got that up to 2k. Again, it's not bad, it's not brilliant. 217 speed, which is solid, it's respectable, it's not massive. Crit rate, I would have liked this to have been higher, but you know, I was more worried about getting those defensive stats up on her and keeping her up, basically. Crit damage, again, we're not worried too much, but you know, it'll help with the healing on her A1. Unfortunately, she doesn't hit very hard with her A1, the multipliers aren't there, and so even if you build her out for damage, you're still not going to get a lot of damage. She might just be able to keep herself topped up, but it's going to be a struggle. So it's always worth bringing another revival with her anyway, which I always tend to, so just bear that in mind, because she will fall down sooner or later due to the damage she's doing herself. Debuff resistance, 122, I'd like that higher, but again, it's doing what you can with the gear you've got. Accuracy, doesn't really need it, doesn't do anything with accuracy. So what have we built her in? Well, we've got a 6-star piece here, but I've only rolled it up to 12 to keep it down. There is another 6-star piece here, fully rolled up. It was on another champion, I've stolen it off them, so or I did originally steal it off her, though this is permanently on her now. Same with the gloves, it's again, I'd stole it off somebody else and it was already rolled up, so I do apologise for that. There are a couple of 6-star pieces, but then there are also at least one 12-star piece, 5-star piece that I've not fully rolled up to sort of compensate a little bit for that. So we've gone for a HP banner, obviously with speed as a sub, and HP and defense and stuff to keep her alive. Crit damage for the neck, just to help her do that little extra damage to help with that A1 heal. And again, you've got resistance, defense and HP in the subs, so that's all good. HP on the ring, I would have preferred a better ring, to be honest, with better rolls, but this is what I've got. So we've only got one roll in at the HP, and obviously it's not fully rolled up as explained. We've got speed boots, and then the overall theme is, you know, we're concentrating on building up the HP, defense where we could get it as well, just to make it that bit more survivable and tanky, and yeah, that's the sort of general gist, and speed where we could as well. I've got an immunity set, and this is purely really for the arena, but I just use her anywhere in this gear and I don't worry about it other than that, because I'm not going to keep swapping her out to use her in different areas. And she is when I'm in a bit of a crux, when I have a bit of a team that's going to be a bit difficult to beat and I can't go first, I can bring her in and still win the match sometimes. So that's why we have her in that. HP gloves, obviously, with accuracy roll, which is just crap. But again, it's taking what you can, where you can get it. And then, like I say, all the same through. So you've got one speed set to help keep the speed up. And then it's all speed and HP and defense all throughout the rolls. Now let's go take a look at her Masteries. Anyway, so we've gone down the defense tree here, just to again mitigate damage, keep her up a bit better. So we've gone for resistance, decreases damage received by 10%. This champion has stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, debuffs. Obviously in the arena you get a lot of that on you. Decreases the damage received from critical hits by 8%, which again is a big one. Chance to remove random buffs if you lose a quarter of your health. Increase ally resist by 5 for each buff placed on them by this champion. She does place buffs, so I figured it 2 buffs on each champion, so that's an extra 10 resistance on each champion, which can really help you in certain situations. Reduce damage from a specific champion. Chance of increasing the turn meter when allies are attacked with a crit. Retribution, so you just got a chance when you lose enough of your health, hit back, get more A1 hits, and therefore help heal yourself up a bit more. Then we've gone down the support tree. So we've got extra HP by 810, increase healing, has a chance to increase the turn meter when a buff cast falls off, and obviously keeping it going fast as well as increasing her healing is important, because the faster she goes the more often she's cycling through those abilities, putting up that block revive, that block debuffs, putting up that revive on death, and again healing you the more often she goes. So it's good to have her going fast if you can. Again, increase the amount of healing and stuff like that when targets are under. Now, obviously, you don't have to place these, so, and in the arena you are going to be going up against them. Lasting gifts to give you a chance to increase the duration of that block debuffs. It's a shame it doesn't work on the revive on death, but would be nice, but it doesn't. So you're only doing that really for the block debuffs, but that's still a big move, really helpful in any situation. And then we've come down into timely intervention, increases the champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally hero drops below 25%. Again, the idea is just keep her moving fast, keep her ticking round, keep her doing her thing. Of course, you're also moving her to her death quicker, but that's the whole point of having a reviver there. And if you all so happen to have people that do some healing besides, then they can sort of help keep her up as well. Right, so next we're going to take her into some content. I think we will start off with taking her into the Dragon's Lair. I mean, she can work just about anywhere really, for what she does. I wouldn't necessarily say Fire Knight, because obviously she's only got one hit and a single hit at that. But, you know, if you want support, if you need somebody putting block debuffs on you and stuff like that and keeping you up and keeping you healed up and stuff, she really works just about anywhere. Again, you know, if you're planning on using her in dungeons solely and not using her in the arena, you put her in a stun set. You can take her as a healer in a spider, and although she doesn't manipulate turn meter by dropping it or anything like that, obviously you're getting to go fast, and A1 is a constant AoE, so you're going to have more chances of stunning those spiderlings, which can really help you. So I don't personally use it out, I've not tried it, but in theory it should work quite well, or okay at least. Okay, so we're going to take her into Dragon 20. I've not actually bothered going up to 25 yet. I'm not so sure it's worth it for the supposed increased drop rates and stuff, the extra length and hassle of getting up there and doing the runs up there. I just don't necessarily think it's worth doing. Obviously when we have to for the missions I will do, but in the meantime I'm not so sure. And one thing I forgot to point out before when running through her skills, I believe, was the fact that she's got an aura that increases ally HP in all battles by 25%, which is really solid. So for this run we're going to use these three. We've got a poisoner in there, you could use anybody in there, it doesn't really matter. Xavier's the one I've got built up and working to do the job. We've got Royal Guard to help clear those waves. Cold Heart obviously, and does damage on the boss. Seal's in there to help with stuns, controlling the round, and her passive also heals, so should help Skytouched stay up longer, and then she's there to revive her if she happens to fall over as well. You could use Arbiter. I just wanted to show a sort of more free to play friendly comp, and obviously everybody gets Seal sooner or later as a login reward. And actually, to be fair, she's just really good for this sort of thing with her stuns anyway. I just tend to prefer Arbiter because she's faster, goes more often, and also picks everybody up if more than one's fallen over, so I just like that synergy there. Okay, so we've lost one. That's not good because Seal's revive is not on that short of a cooldown, and obviously, as we said, we can only do one. And it looks like we're in trouble with losing two here. You see how low they were a second ago. Now look how from the passives of the two of them, they're just almost back up full, but not quite. Now we've got a revive on death out there as well, so if one does happen to fall over, it'll come back up, which is nice. Not the fastest run ever. I usually tend to get here more on average of a minute, but it's reliable, it's steady. You know, you've got enough support and people picking people up that you're not really going to have any issues there. And just look, with the passive, at the big heals that you're getting, it's immense. And there you go, 2 minutes 21, not a bad time at all. Not my fastest, to be fair. I never really get that close to that these days. I can't remember who on earth I did it with or how. So next up, we're going to take her into the arena. Because that's the main place I do want to showcase her. Start off with a fresh page. One of my fellow guildmates, or cluster mates I should say. Okay. Try and find a good one that don't think there's much in the way of debuffs there. Okay, we might be struggling here for the sort of team that is most ideal on. Okay, so here we are, we're in the arena, and this is the sort of team you'd go up against, and you don't know if you're going faster, slower. They're obviously a higher team power than me. Alright, if I had my normal team in there, I don't think they'd actually stand a chance, because I run with Hegemon and then Counter Slicks and whatnot. For anybody that's seen any of my arena videos, you know the sort of team I usually run. But let's say they had beat me, I already know they'd beat me. I can come back at them with a team like this, and we'll see how this works out. So they've gone and provoked us, put fears on us, HP burns, I'm guessing that's a Trunda thing. So there we go, let's clean all that off. We're now going to do that to them. Alright, they've got block debuffs up, which is a pain, so we can't entirely get control the way we'd like to. But there we go, we've got everybody healed up. That's starting to fall off. I'm tempted to use it against Arbiter because it's a big hit. And it'll keep her under control. But we'll keep things going as they are for the moment. That's that Umbral down. She might be up again in a sec. No, okay. So now we can take control with the taunt. And we'll just leave the team on auto now to mop them up. So as you can see, this is exactly the sort of comp you're going against. They've run faster than you, they've managed to beat you on the speed, and they're taking control of the match early on and killing you basically because of that. So you come in with somebody like Skytouched like this, and she's actually really good for it, and you strip all those debuffs off of everybody, bring your team back into it, and if you've got a couple of champs like Warlord, Umbral, I like having both of them on the team if I can, why not? But again, you can use somebody else, Harvest Jack with his fears. There's so many CCs in this game, a CC or two plus a good DPSer so that you get some damage out there. Obviously you don't want to make it too defensive of a team, because although you may get control, you then won't be able to take them down and then they can regain control. Now as you saw, what happens a lot of the time in that scenario, and that's why I like Warlord, is he can still put everybody's stuff on cooldown even though they've got up block debuffs, whereas Umbral, if she'd been in there on her own, we would have had more trouble, wouldn't necessarily have won it in all honesty. But again, if you're facing somebody and they've not managed to get that up, then you know you're laughing your quids in, because she comes in, she then provokes everybody just like they had done to you a second ago. They've not got a cleanser and everybody's down. You know, it's absolutely brilliant. So we could show her in the Doom Tower, but again, you know, it's more of the same thing. There are bosses in the Doom Tower where cleansed champions are golden, we know this, like the Nether Spider. I've discussed this in my previous video discussing AoE debuff removers or strippers, but you know, they are absolutely clutch in numerous areas of the game. And obviously in her case, she's removing all those debuffs, plus she's healing up your team. The only problem with her is, and it's the one thing I still don't like about her entirely, she's still good, but I don't like the fact that she kills herself. If they took that off her, she'd be so much better. By all means, keep the fear in if you want or something, and the what was the other one? The fear and the decreased speed or something, but take off the fact that she kills herself and just say she heals by X amount. It'd be so much better, to be fair. But I know the synergy idea was that she heals up on her A1 and kills herself and heals everybody else on her A3. It doesn't really work that well because her multipliers aren't high enough. That's the other option, is bump up her multipliers. If she does more damage on her A1, she can then easily keep herself sustained, and by doing damage, and then it becomes hard to build her as well, because then you have to build her for damage as well as building her for high HP. So then you lose some of that. So it's not ideal, but she is a really solid champ, as you can see. In the arena, she can come in clutch. She definitely comes in clutch in numerous places in the Doom Tower. Again, if you're against waves that you're struggling with and they're throwing out loads of debuffs at you and you're struggling to do anything, you bring in somebody like her in the immunity set, she wipes it all off, regain control of the match. The only and I believe that set goes per round as well, so when you face your next wave, it then resets again. So that's really solid, and you've got that up there again. So it's just great. Obviously, you wouldn't necessarily have the cleanse available again, but you know, you do what you can, and it's still helpful when it can still help you get through waves. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. She is a great champ, well worth looking at. Definitely great for the arena. It's really fun to do that to teams that think that they can easily beat you, and they may have even beaten you on speed. You've already faced them once. You bring in a team like that, you can come back and beat them without the speed lead. And it just goes to show that you can move up and progress in the arena without the speed lead. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you like what I've done here with this champion. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know it's a good video and more people should watch it. And if you like my content, ding that bell, hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notified when I release my next video. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.